you ready to take your leadership journey to the next level? On the leadership platform TLP, we don't just talk about leadership, we live it. This year, we are bringing you cutting-edge insights, transformative tools, and real-world strategies to help you lead with confidence, purpose, and impact. This year, we have 4 seasons with 50 episodes. We will dive into themes such as leading self, leading others, and leading institutions. We bring you Leaders Are Readers. This monthly session focuses on book reviews, discussions, encouraging all participants to read along with selected books on personal leadership and professional leadership. We also have a time with the CEO. In this segment, we dive into the stories of prominent CEOs who share their insights, lessons learned throughout their leadership journey. We also bring you extraordinary leadership stories, highlighting individuals in our societies who are doing extraordinary things. This segment inspires viewers with real-life examples of leadership in action. We will bring you some brilliant minds, courageous leaders changing the narrative of Africa. We also bring you finally the expert-led sessions, which cover a wide range of leadership and personal development topics, providing practical guidance and actionable strategies for personal and professional development. The leadership platform is your go-to space for personal growth, professional breakthroughs, and meaningful connections. I am Joy Bunsu-Schmutz, co-host on TLP, and I will see you every Saturday, 7 p.m. GMT, live on YouTube and
Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Platform. My name is Samuel Eyim, and I'm excited. You are all welcome to the Leadership Platform. This is our favorite time of the week, Saturday evenings, when we have opportunity to meet all of you lovely people who are ready to learn and to grow. We also have opportunity to bring you some of the thought leaders in our community who are doing great things to share ideas with us. So if you are with us, please let's know where you are connecting from. If you can introduce yourself, share your name and where you are calling from, so we will be able to introduce you to the whole wide world. All right, so we are live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and we want to thank all of you who have been liking our pages and subscribing to our channel. We want to encourage the rest of us to subscribe to our channel, to like our pages, to share, invite your friends, invite your colleagues, your bosses, the family people. Let everybody come around because we have very good menu. And we are going to give you a great dinner because we have a great speaker. This evening we are having one of our usual Leaders Are Readers segment. And this is a segment where we bring you an overview of a book that has good lessons on leadership and personal development. You want to be a leader, you have to be reading. If you are not reading books, you should be reading at times, you should be reading people. So readers, if you're not reading, you cannot understand to lead. So we bring you this segment, and this evening For the first time, we are privileged to have the author of the book herself with us to give us the background of this book and the lessons that she has prepared for us. Now, let me take a short time to tell you about our speaker or the author of the book we are going to look at. And the book we are going to look at has a beautiful title: Speak Up, Speak Out. Speak Up, Speak Out. And this book was written by a beautiful lady called Dr. Maame Afua Nikabs, who is a leadership communication strategist, is a speaker, and an author, of course, of the book that I've mentioned. Her work focuses on voice, influence, and responsible leadership, helping executives, professionals, and institutions to communicate
Oh, Sam.
with clarity,
Sorry,
navigate.
let me pause you a little bit. Your video has frozen, so we are missing all the expressions and that is coming through the introduction. So I want to give you a minute. Maybe you can
Oh
just
my
go off and
God.
then come back in so that we can we can get a good connection from Uncle Sam. So I'm just gonna give him a minute so that he could just go back and come back in so that we can hear him clearly. But as we wait for him to come back, welcome everybody. I see Joseph Benjamin, who is joining us. Welcome, Doctor, for joining us. For everybody watching, please share with your community on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on YouTube. Okay. I think Uncle Sam is back on. So please introduce yourself while we take a moment to introduce our speaker. Yes, Uncle Sam, I can see you moving now. So please
Oh,
go ahead.
thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. I don't know what's happening. My internet is
The,
probably blocked in the Strait of
the
Hormuz in
internet
Iran.
gremlins.
Yes. All
Go
right.
ahead.
So, sorry, guys. Let me take it again that we are lucky and privileged this evening to have the author of the book that we are reviewing this evening with you. The author herself is here. So, from the horse's own mouth, we are going to listen or hear from Dr. Maame Afua Nikabs, who is a leadership communication strategist, a speaker and author
Uncle Sam,
of the book.
sorry. I don't know what's happening. You're still buffering. You're still buffering. I
Okay,
think when
so
you start
maybe,
reading, yes, maybe let me just take it from there, and then let's
yeah.
see if the internet can stabilize. Okay, so let me introduce Dr. Nikabs. I met her in
Go
2023.
ahead and go
Okay,
ahead.
sure. I met her in 2023, and since then, I followed her through her work, especially when she launched this book. And she's been speaking on workshops across the world in UK and in Ghana, speaking to students, professionals about this subject that she is passionate about: communication, the use of language. And today we have the pleasure of having her lead us through the breakdown of her book, which is Speak Up, Speak Out. Her work focuses on your voice, your influence, and a responsible use of your leadership, helping your team and professionals communicate with clarity and navigate high stakes conversations. So, if that's something you're looking for, she's definitely your woman to look out for. She's worked across, I've mentioned, higher education, corporate environment, helping leaders to strengthen their communication and also elevate diverse voices. For the first time, I heard Dr. Nikab's word how subtle language can completely change the meaning of your words, the meaning of what you're trying to communicate. I had never heard anybody speak about it or even people who don't sound fluent are sometimes seen as unintelligent. That was the first time I understood those subtle biases in communication. And that's what she has focused most of her work on. She'll tell us a little bit more about her, what she does for fun when I bring her on the screen. But, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome another amazing voice in our country, Ghana, who is elevating leadership through her work with communication, Dr. Maame Afua Nikabs. So let's give her, some clicks, some love, wherever you are. Please let's welcome her onto the leadership platform. Dr. Mami, if you're there, okay. I think today the internet will prevail. Will prevail. Dr. Nicaps, if you can hear me,
The
welcome to
internet
the
is
leadership
interneting.
platform. But will prevail. Will prevail. Okay.
Yes, I can hear.
Awesome. Awesome.
I
Awesome.
can.
So welcome again for
Thank
the
you.
second
Thank you.
time.
Thank you. Can you? Yes. Yes. Can you let me know if you can hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, Joy. Can you hear me?
Yes, it looks like
Okay.
she's
I'm
having a
told.
slight delay on
Yes.
her
Yes.
end
Yes.
too, but
Yes.
we can hear you. Yeah.
There's a delay, but we can hear you
Okay.
very well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the kind invitation, Uncle Sam and the team. So, Joy, where did you want me to start from? Should I just go ahead and say a little bit about the book, or is there any
I
particular
think
angle you want me to take it from?
before you start with the book, would love to hear about
Yes.
what you do for fun, what you do to relax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
the
I
things
think one of
that
the
you
things Joy
refuse to
didn't
put
say.
on your CV.
Well, I think the things I refuse to put on my CV, the first one is that I'm a mom of four beautiful children and a wife
Ooh,
of one, one husband.
Only
I
one,
love cooking. Only one.
only one.
Only one. Only one husband. I love cooking. I just love the joy of making sure that everyone around me is happy and satisfied. One of the things on that's not on my CV is that I'm a perfectionist. I can be a perfectionist sometimes. I'm growing out of it. I'm becoming better, but once in a while it picks its ugly head. But I am in a much better control of it than it used to control me in the past. Yes. So to relax, I sleep.
awesome.
Bed
I'm
is
not
my
bad.
favorite place in the world. And my idea of a holiday is to travel, check into a hotel, and just sleep. And what I enjoy doing.
That sounds great. And kudos for being a mom of four. Like I'm just like saluting you right now. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay, so
but
Doc,
she's chasing me,
yeah,
so she's in
he has
trouble.
one more to go.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Uncle Sam, over to you. I think you're stable now, so
Okay, but I think Doc's internet takes time to communicate. So, Doc, can you hear us?
I can hear you perfectly.
Wonderful. So, the title of this book,
Mm.
Speak Up, Speak Out. Where did the title come from?
Whoa. You know, initially the title was having difficult conversations. When I received the instruction to write the book, that's the inclination I had. That's the direction I was taking. But I decided that no, I wanted something that will make people pay attention. That when they see the book on the bookshelf, it will be difficult for them to walk past. They'll say, "Oh, that's interesting. Let me look." So that's why I opted for Speak Up, Speak Out, and I think it captures the essence of everything in the book. The importance of using our voice. And I always say that when God wanted to create the world, He did it through His voice. He spoke, and so that's the reason for that particular title of the book.
Wonderful. That's amazing. So now, I mean, Joy was talking about, the things you do for fun. Every author is motivated by something, and sometimes it is your life story. So, for the audience who may not have read your CV, tell us a bit about you. Where have you come from, and where are you now? And which has birthed this book. Okay, I suspect Doc is frozen. All right, Doc is frozen, and I'm sure that we'll try to get her attention. The internet is a bit challenged
So
today.
my initial studies, I went into. Hello, Uncle Sam. Yes, it is. It is
Yes,
definitely Ghana's
we
internet.
were not hearing from you at all. So yeah, so start again and share with us.
Okay, let me try and connect. Let me. Okay, so I was saying that my initial stint into career started from banking, and it was something that I walked into by chance. But I think not less than a year into the journey, I noticed that wasn't my place. It was just not cut for me. But I stayed, like most people, stayed and kept giving myself the excuses. If I leave, where am I going? So I stayed in that role for close to 8 years. And then I decided to seek the face of Lord and seek direction. In fact, it took a demotion from the banking role to push me to do what God had placed in me to do. So I went back to school and I studied. Now, when I finished my studies, I was again inquiring, what do I do afterwards? And one thing I heard clearly the Lord say was that He will give me the world as my classroom. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm supposed to go and find an academic job and teach. I tried that a couple of times. It wasn't working out. So I'm like, what do you mean by you give me the world as a classroom? So I veered off into consulting. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. When I finished my PhD, that's when George Floyd, I don't know if we remember that incident, had been murdered brutally, and Black Lives
Yes,
Matter took on like a lot of, there was a lot of attention
yes,
around racism for Black people. Yes. So, but I noticed that when people were talking about racism, they weren't talking about the role of language in creating inequality in the workplace and how language acts as a barrier. So I thought, oh, that's my stint into this space of corporate consulting and work, you know. But then when I started working around EDI, one of the things we'll tell a lot during the training sessions will be to tell people that the only way we can fight injustice, inequality is to speak up. But nobody was really telling us how to speak up. You see, and personally, I'm the type of person who would rather not have a difficult conversation. I would rather give you in the past, give you the silence treatment and expect that things would resolve on their own. But from experience, I came to know that that didn't work anyway. So when I chanced upon this story in the Bible where five young girls could approach Moses and demand what was rightfully theirs, I said, this is a solution to the challenge I have been facing all this while. Because I noticed that the problem is not just not
all right.
speaking up.
So, Doc, before you go to that story, and then we're going to share that story with us. But you're talking about injustice and from Floyd and so on. But did you yourself face injustice that necessitated your speaking up, and how did you handle that?
Yes, I faced. I mean, so I recount some of them in the book. Initially, when I faced it, my response was silence because no one had prepared me. No one had taught me how to speak up when I was treated unfairly, unequally. So I'll just keep quiet and take it all in and internalize it and question whether I even belonged in those spaces where I was treated unfairly because of my skin color and because of my accents, because of how I spoke. But and so that's what excited me about this, that there's actually a way to get your voice heard and to seek justice. There's a blueprint, if I would call it. And so for me, it was
Yeah.
a discovery that would help me emancipate myself and also emancipate the many other Black people. And I'm referring to the UK then, when who faced
Yeah.
similar, because I spoke to a number of people and I realized it wasn't just common to me. It was broadly among those of us who are
Yeah.
referred to as a minority in another country. So yes, I had my own fair share of difficult injustices and inequalities.
Yeah, you told a story about in the book about going to a restaurant and sitting with a white family. And can you share that a bit with our listeners? What happened?
You know what? It's been how many years? Anytime I recount that story, it just brings it. Was after class, I was tired. I just couldn't go home and cook. So I said, "Oh, a friend, a Chinese colleague of mine, let's just rush into McDonald's and get something to eat." And McDonald's typically is packed. It was evening, so it was packed. And we walked. There was nowhere to sit. Usually, I would find an empty space and sit with my friends, but there wasn't any. We were hungry. So my friend found a corner somewhere and sat. And I also found a white family and there was one seat. So I just placed my tray there. Uncle Sam, immediately I dropped my tray and sat down. They just gave me the look and all of them. It was as if a canker had dropped in their midst. Somebody who was unwanted. They didn't say anything, but that action of walking away from the table with their trays and murmuring as they walked from the table, I think it will stay for me. It will stay with me for the rest of my life. And that was it.
Wow.
I was horrid. I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just nobody should be treated like that. No human being should ever be treated like that.
Yeah. 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 I mean, when I read that, I said, well, this is a lot of people talk about some of these things. And if you haven't experienced it, you would not know and you will not feel the impact that it could have on you. So now you've gone through all that, and then now you are doctor, you are training. Where did this idea, just the idea of writing the book, where did it come from? Because a lot of us go to school, we do, and one of the things we don't do is we don't write. But what was the motivation for saying, I want to write?
Mm, yes. I think one of the things I was very clear on when I started my journey in academia was that I just didn't want to write journal articles that nobody read. So from day one, my eyes was on academia and practice. I wanted to bridge that gap, that my work could be transferred, that academics could read my work, but outside of academia, the work would have practical use. So that I was very clear about that from the very beginning of my doctoral journey. So this felt a safe bet for me to write a book and to share my experiences with the world.
Oh my gosh. It looks like we are losing Doc. Yes, we lost Doc a bit there. All right.
The internet.
I'm sure she will come back. Yes. Doc, we lost you briefly when you were talking about when you were entered into academia, you wanted your work to be relevant, and then you wanted everything you write to be something that can be used. So if you complete those thoughts for us. I think the internet is a challenge this evening. Doc, did you hear me?
Yes, I heard a little bit about making my feeling that I wanted my work to be relevant to my life.
Yeah.
I'm using my
Unfortunately,
Wi-Fi now, so probably better than. Oh,
okay.
this internet.
Unfortunately, it's a challenge, but I will overcome it. It's all part of
Yes.
the injustice. It's all part of the injustice that we are suffering. Eh, why is it that some people in Rwanda can get good internet and we sit here in Accra, not even in my village, oh, Accra
Eh?
here, and
The-
the internet
right?
is
Yes.
right
Yes.
in
The,
Accra, in the center,
yes.
Roman Ridge, close to the
Roman
president's
Rich.
house.
Yes. 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 Yes, Uncle Sam. So
All
please,
right.
kindly repeat your question again. I didn't get the full question. What you were asking before
Okay,
my
so
line.
I mean, the question was, what was the motivation for writing the
Mm,
book? And you were
mm,
trying to share with us that when you went into academia, you didn't want to just write things that would just remain in the library that nobody will read, but you wanted to make your work also relevant outside the academic world. So it was there that you got a bit frozen. So I wanted you to uh, complete those thoughts for us.
yes. Okay, okay, thank you. So yes, like I was saying, it was I really wanted something that would bridge the gap between practice and academia, and also having the opportunity to tell people that you've got to use your voice, but notice that nobody was really telling them how. And so that's what drove
Mhm.
me to write this book. And I knew that writing was a very powerful tool. I mean, even if I don't get invited to speak at an event, someone can pick my book and they can be transformed. They can learn from it. So it was one of, and I know it's one of the gifts, one of the ways God has gifted me to express my talent to the world. It's one of the things I teach as well, how to write, because writing is thinking. So if something that if you're able to develop, it helps you in so many facets of your life. So that's the reason why I decided to put this on pen and paper and write it.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's true. It's a writing is a powerful thing. They said that if you, I mean, you take a book, you are taking somebody's whole story at a point in
Mm-hmm.
time, and
Mm,
you're learning from all the experiences, and we're grateful for putting that together. So now share with us the gist of the book. If we
mm.
took the book, Speak Up and Speak Out, what was it supposed to achieve?
So I think in a line or two, speak up, speak out is one to show you that there's a way to use your voice and get the results you desire. So I call it as the blueprint for advocacy, for influence, for seeking justice, for impact in our society. And I think we'll all agree that we're living in a time and age where our voice matters than it ever has been. There's a lot that is pushed out there to us. And if you're not careful, we only become consumers and not contributors. So this book is supposed to help you, be your guide to learn that your voice is important and that you don't have to be courageous before you start using your voice. It's a muscle that you build. Once you take the first step, you get better at it. So if anyone is listening to me, that's the essence of Speak Up. A practical, and one of the things I read a lot in my reviews, this is practical, this is a guide, easy to go to guide. You can dip in and dip out. So if you're looking for a guide to help you communicate, and communicate such that the redress you are seeking, you get it. It's in
Yeah,
Speak Up, Speak Out.
wonderful. Good. Now, when I went through the book, I see that it is centered around a story in the Bible. Please, can you share with us briefly? I mean, we don't want you to give us everything because we want people to go and read it.
Mm,
But that story ran through most of the lessons and the guide. So can you just share briefly with us that story, how you got that story and how that story influenced you?
Yeah, yes. Thank you. So I got that story at a point in my life where I felt that the Lord had, like, my life was on hold. Because after my studies, I got into consulting, I got a few gigs, money was coming, I was excited. And then I noticed I was pregnant. So I'm like, God, are you taking me forward or you're taking me backwards? So it was after delivery, that's when a friend invited me to speak, and the text, it was actually a women's conference, and that was the first time I was exposed to the account of the daughters of Zelophehad. And in the moment I nearly said no, because I felt, what kind of account is this? I've never read it before. What can I say about this? But as I prayerfully considered it, I heard the Lord say, go ahead. So when I took my pen and paper to actually sit and said, I realized, my God, this is actually a blueprint. And one of the first comments I said was, so injustice has been with us since the days of Abraham, and we are still fighting it. And one of the
Yeah.
things I have known, because as a linguist, we study the science of language. So, how do you study the
Hmm.
science of something? By looking at what others have done and what worked. So, when I found that they actually did certain things and it worked, that was it. So that's how the journey of the book began. And the following day, when I ministered, the day after, the lady who spoke, Dr. Ankechi, you know her, she said, the Lord is giving some of you ideas, so sleep with your books and your laptops with you tonight. So I took that word literally for myself. And that
Yeah.
night, I couldn't sleep. I typed the entire chapters of the book that night, the layout. It was as if it
Yeah.
was just the ideas were just flowing like that. And so that's the
Yeah.
place from which the book was birthed. So it's not
And
just
this
practical.
this is a story in Numbers chapter 27,
27.
verse
Yes.
1 to 11 or something.
Yes. 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 Numbers 27.
Yeah,
Yes.
guys, you go and read the book. We won't give you the rest of that story, but it's a very beautiful, beautiful story, and it's about some five beautiful ladies also. So go and read that story, which motivated. Then, so the night you wrote the outline of the book, share with us briefly the key head outline of this book. What is there in a
Mm,
gist for us, so
mm.
that we can we can get the appetite to go and read this book.
Yes. So one of the key things that stood out to me immediately was how the ladies were prepared. One of the things we do
Mhm.
often is we walk into conversations and we're not prepared enough.
Mhm.
The other thing as well is that they knew exactly what they wanted. They were very clear. Clear is kind,
Mhm.
Renee Brown says. They were
Mhm.
very clear on what it is that they wanted. You see, and the other thing that stood out
Mhm.
to me as I read that night was the courage the young ladies had. And this is just to take us back. I mean, ancient Israel, where women were not
Mhm.
even counted. So those ladies had no place approaching Moses and the elders at the tent of meeting, but they walked through boldly, not intimidated. So I was just fascinated by the courage that these young girls had to approach Moses. And the other thing that truly blew me off was Moses' response and attitude. Moses was the leader then,
Mhm.
but he gave the young ladies the opportunity to speak. He listened. So, for leaders, it is important that you use your voice, but it's also equally important that you create the platform and the environment where the people you lead can use their voice and contribute meaningfully. Now, humility as well stood out to me. When they presented the case, he didn't know what to do, so he went to the Lord. And I thought, as leaders, we don't have to have all the answers. It's okay if you don't have the answer. Can you seek somebody who has more experience than you to support you? You don't have to have it all figured out. So Moses' humility, his vulnerability, and his composure, these are the things that they completely struck me, and I thought, no, there's something worth writing about in this book. So firstly, the plan. So they knew the history. They didn't just approach Moses rumbling and complaining. And that was me in the past. If I had a situation I wasn't happy about, last week you do this, last 2 weeks you did this, and I don't like this, and I don't like that. Why do you like it? They didn't go like that. They knew the history of what it is that they were fighting against, and they presented a very compelling case that it was difficult for Moses to just throw away like most of us. So these are the
Yeah.
few key things that drew my attention and glued me to beginning the book
Yeah.
and finishing it and publishing it.
Yeah, actually, these are powerful, powerful, and then sometimes we just want to be lucky. We want to sit down and hope that things will change. But what I'm hearing is that, like they say, hope is not a strategy. You have to, if you want something to happen, you have to prepare. You cannot get lucky if you are not prepared. Now, these ladies you're talking about will be hoping that maybe Moses will pass by and they will tell him something. But they prepared themselves, and they were not waiting to be lucky. They went and took action.
Yes.
And I love that. And I love that. You talk about the clarity of purpose. A lot of the time, like you were just saying, we are very good at knowing what we don't want. And I don't like that. And I don't like that. And I don't like fufu. I don't like wache. I don't like, but what do you want?
What do
And
you
when you push,
want?
what do you want? We are not able to define what we want. And so if you're going to be communicating, this is what I got, effectively advocating for things, you have to be clear what you want. Otherwise, you can't communicate. And those are very,
Yes.
very, very powerful, powerful um, ideas that I actually uh, took away. Now, so for those of us, those on the call who have not read the book, why should they read this book?
Reading this book is important because, as John Maxwell says, leadership is influence. It's not a title. And if you're
Yes.
to ask me to sum up what the ladies did in a word, I'll say it's influence. And we all need to learn how to influence. And influence is simply getting people to see things from your perspective and then changing the course of action to what you desired. And this is a skill all of us need to master. It is not something for only people with titles. All of us need to master influence. And so, if you're listening to me on this call and there's one skill that you need to invest in this year, is learning how to be an influential person, learning how to communicate in such a way that your ideas are heard. They are not just heard, but the desired outcome that you want is achieved. And so for me, that's it. If you're listening, influence, it is leadership, and it cuts across all areas of our lives, in our family life, in our work life, in our religious life. If you don't influence, and the beautiful thing I love is that influence is not something we do silently. So if you want to
Mm,
be a person who is influential, you have to learn how to communicate and speak your ideas in such a way that many of us have brilliant ideas, even in our workplaces. And I think one of the other things that also drew me to the daughter's account is the fact that the society is very similar to our Ghanaian society. And even in the West, women, there's a lot of inequality when it comes to women. So to see women
mm,
step forward in that context ages ago and demand justice, for me, every
mm.
woman, every young lady listening to me, we can do same.
Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
somebody who
And
is passionate about impact, this is your book.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that act of the ladies also you spend some time on the courage that they had, and the book also addresses even how to develop that courage. Would you want to
Mm-hmm.
throw a bit more light on this? Because sometimes that's a fear that if I go and they say no, if I'm rejected, the fear that you're going to the Asante Hins place and go and distance. In the olden days, I was told that if you're not careful, they will just cut off your head. And that fear is still with us. We feel intimidated. So you spend some time on courage and how to overcome this fear. Would you want to share a bit, throw a bit more light on that for those who have not learned? We give them a bit of something so that they will know.
Definitely. I say that courage is not the absence of fear. You see, and I'm sure as those young ladies were approaching Moses and the tent of the elders, they were feeling, what if Moses rushes out and says, "Hey, why are you people going? Go back." And I have found, and I'm sure Mr. Uncle Sam, you've also found instances where you wanted to do something and you were afraid. So my number one tip is that waiting to be courageous, you will not do anything. Now, courage,
Mm,
like I've said previously, is a muscle. Like when we're going, we
mm,
want a six pack and we start going to the gym. When we begin, we don't even see not even a one pack. It takes time. So give yourself the grace. But it's those little acts of courage. Is it at home that you can put your hand up, or is it at church? Can you begin with the familiar before you step into the unfamiliar? Many at times you hear a thing like this: oh, Dr. Mami says we should be courageous, and immediately we want to go and approach the president of our company or the CEO, when we haven't started from bottom up to get to build our muscle and notice that, oh, this is not as scary as I thought. And usually you see fear, false evidence made real. That's fear.
mhm,
Is these
mhm.
things that you keep repeating to yourself, and mostly they stem from our limiting self beliefs, the things that people have told us over time, the things that we have said to ourselves, or our experiences have led us to think is true of us. So
Yeah,
that's it. You would never know until you try. So that's why taking the
yeah,
action is so key. Do it afraid. I like Nike's slogan, just do it.
yeah, yeah,
The more you do it, the easier it becomes. But every one of us began from a place of fear.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I like the idea that courage is not the absence of fear. Do it even though you are afraid, and that's the definition. Do it afraid. And I like that. Now at this point, I'm going to bring the other ladies because otherwise I'll be in trouble. So I'm going to start with um Joy, and I'm going to bring both of them, and maybe I should even go to the background back then so that we can have a ladies thing, because actually the story was about all ladies. So why am I
Hmm.
here? Ladies.
Indeed, this
Okay,
man
so maybe
is
I'm the Moses. I'm representing
this
Moses here. Okay,
this
girls.
month, yeah, this month is the ladies' month. I mean, we just celebrated
Voila.
international. Yeah. So,
Okay.
Mami, what I would like you to do is to maybe give us an overview or the flow of the book, so we know exactly how
Mm,
it plays out. To give us to
mm.
situate us. Yes.
Yes, so I begin with sharing my own personal experience with these issues that I write about in the book. So I ask readers, why this book and why now? Why should we be reading this book at this particular time, and why should I be writing this book in the first place? So some of the things I talk about, I said this book is for you if you've always felt your voice didn't matter, if you're facing a tough conversation and you don't know how to begin, if you're a leader trying to inspire and drive change in your team or organization. So some of those things. And then I move on to talk about the first chapter is the introduction, like any other book is. And the next chapter I go, that's when I delve into my personal journey of facing racism and inequality in the UK. Then I actually talk about, I go into the account of the ladies. So the next thing I touch on is understanding the historical and cultural context. And then I talk about courage in the face of injustice. I talk about the power of unity. I talk about harnessing knowledge and preparation for effective advocacy. Then strategic approach to making impact. And one of the chapters I love the most is essential leadership lessons. And finally, I close up with an A to Z to help readers. I'm all about taking action. So an alphabet a day. If you are beginning and you're like Dr. Nikabs, where do I begin? Pick any of the alphabets. You can either choose it alphabetically or decide amongst your team you're going to focus on this alphabet for this because like I said before, my idea of this book is to make it a practical guide. So that's the overall frame and structure of the book.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So, leaders, you have it. Um, uh, but before no, Joy, you go, and then I have other questions. Go
Yeah,
over
I
to you.
I wanted to pick from the angle of the finding your voice. For me, when I read the book, anytime I'm faced with a situation where whether to go or not to go, the picture of the five women just I know I just have a reflection of it, and it's a very powerful story. So I wanted you to just speak about what you mean literally for people who it maybe sounds like a literary device like finding your voice. What do you
Mm.
mean when you say we should find our voice?
So when I talk about voice, I see voice as value. So voice essentially is using your skill of speaking, of communicating to make a contribution to society, either in the workplace or family or society generally. So that's how I see voice. And many of us, particularly women, tend to grow up in, again, because of our cultural upbringing and our socialization, that we are made, our voices are not, or our contributions are not even asked in the first place. So we grow up with that idea that our voices don't matter. But so when I say your voice matters, all I'm trying to say is that you have something to say. All of us have something to say. And we tend to hold it back because we feel, oh, nobody will appreciate it. What if I'm judged wrongly? What if I say the wrong thing? There's nothing wrong if you say the wrong thing. How will you know it's the wrong thing if you don't say it?
Yeah.
You see, so that's what I mean by voice, that your voice matters. And so use it. It's one of the things that God has given. I always say, if God wrote Genesis 1 as if you read only Genesis 1 and you don't read any other part of the Bible again, you are good to go. He gives us the blueprint of using your voice,
Yeah.
of speaking, of saying things and seeing change and seeing results. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean by voice.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, this week I was in a coaching session being coached, and one of the questions that, as you're speaking, it reminds me of is the what if, what if something goes wrong? What if people judge me for what I'm saying? And that fear has really held a lot of people back. It has held me back in aspects of my life. But then the question or reframing that question is, if they take the action that you're anticipating, what is the outcome? Do you lose or do you gain?
Mm,
Or what is the worst that could happen?
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yes. So they don't listen to you. Okay, what is the worst that could happen?
mm, mm,
So I think a very powerful way of rethinking that aspect when we're faced with a very tough situation and we want to develop the courage to speak is to ask ourselves, if I don't step forward and demand for this injustice to be corrected, then what happens?
mm,
Mm-hmm.
So I think the coaching lens where we try to unlock this kind
mm,
of yes is where that comes in. So I just wanted to chip that in. And Sarah, if you do have any more questions, you can bring that in. And I like what you said. You said courage. I think Uncle Sam said it. It's like a muscle. You
Yeah,
have
it
to
is.
try it one or two times and see how it feels. And I'd love to also hear how you, when you were in the UK after practicing for a while, how maybe if you can share any example of how you utilize your voice in that same context of racism, and then
Mm,
what impact you started to see. I think that
mm.
would be very powerful to hear.
Yeah, I think um, one of the things that if and coincidentally, when I started using my voice, I started using it through LinkedIn, and I was
Mm,
just sharing my own experience of facing accent bias and challenging the norm that the fact that I have a different accent or I speak differently doesn't make me less intelligent. And I was surprised. I think that's one of that was the first time I had a post go viral on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, so there are so many others who are facing this,
mm,
and there's no one talking about it. You
yeah.
see, and one of the things I love about the daughters, their story, that the change in the law that they brought about resulted in us women being able to inherit land and property. So the basis of the land inheritance law is based on this thing that the ladies
Mm,
did. So you might say, "Oh, what if they don't listen to me? What if nothing changes? What if something changes?" That's a
yeah.
better question to ask
Mhm.
ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
And all the ways I've practiced this. Initially in the UK, I'll go into a meeting and I'll keep quiet because I felt it was too much. You say something and somebody says, "What did you say? Pardon me? Did you mean this? Oh, you meant that. Oh, it was this." And he said that. I was like, this is too much. But then I said to myself, not anymore. I won't enter any meeting and not say something before I leave. And that one single action, Joe, I've had consulting opportunities come to me because somebody says, "Oh, we're in a meeting and I heard you say this." And so when they wanted this person, I knew you were the best person for this. And so this thing that I'm talking about is something I have lived. I know the power of using your voice, making meaningful contributions. And all of us have meaningful contributions to make in
Mm,
life. You just have to believe in the value that God has placed in you,
yeah.
and it would just unlock. So if nothing at all, let my own account, if the story of the daughters feels a little bit detached, this is something you can do because I have been able to do it and I've helped many others do it. Usually it's because we just don't know how, and with the
Mm,
how, you are good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, just
thank you.
to reinforce that, one of the things I tell people, one of the principles is Matthew 7:7. Okay, just and there's a funny story I tell of this young guy who sat in the trotro and sat by a nice girl, and as they were going through the bumpy road, and when he sits there, the lady will say Matthew 7:7, and then as they were going, she was hit the lady will say Matthew 7:7. This boy was not reading his Bible. So when he got down from the trotro, immediately he took his Bible, open Matthew 7:7. And there it was,
Ask.
ask, you shall be given, seek, you shall find, knock, it will be open. The guy went back, the treasurer was gone.
Ah,
That's the point
Uncle Sam, closed mouths
that,
are not fed.
Yeah.
Closed mouths
you
are
know,
never fed. Yeah.
exactly,
Mm,
exactly. So what if something happens?
Mm,
If you ask and somebody says no, no never killed anybody.
yep. Yep.
If they
Uncle
say
Sam, and
no, if they shut that door, you knock and they don't open, go to the next door and move
Yep.
on. And
Yep.
exactly.
the voice that Dr. Nikap is talking about is actually the first right. And when we
Mm,
studied human rights, one of the things, the right to speak,
Mm-hmm.
somebody said it very beautifully. It says the right to speak comes before the right to eat. Because if you are hungry and you cannot say I am hungry,
You don't get food.
then you won't get the food. So it
Mm,
is a very important point, and it
mm,
is a tool of influence. Actually,
mm,
mm-hmm.
if you look
Mm,
at John 1:1, and when he says the beginning was the word was with God, the
mm-hmm.
word is God.
yes, God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, word is so powerful. It has the
Mm,
influence to create, to change,
mhm,
to
mm,
transform.
mm,
So
Yeah.
that's where the voice comes. It's not just, the voice like these beautiful voices of these ladies and my ugly one, not that, but the
mm,
words that the voice
mm,
convey and the
mhm,
impact that the words can give you. And not
Mm-hmm.
only
mm,
you, but the whole society, because from this
mm.
story of these ladies, we find that their singular act transformed the whole society, the whole legal system changed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you can make an impact. You are so powerful. You can make an impact, and don't minimize your voice and think that,
Mm,
well, I'm not that important. And I think that is the lesson that I also pick from this book. All right. And
Mm-hmm.
I know Sarah has a lot to say. Okay, Mami
Yeah.
Nikabs, over to you. What else? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Sarah,
I think
ask your
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Then we'll throw everything to
Okay, okay. I mean, talking about voice and also the story that Mami shared about herself, how she made her voice heard. She said something even before we all came onto the call. She said, writing is thinking. I wrote it down. And for posterity and reaching a wider
Hmm.
audience. So, Mami, even you posting on LinkedIn, I mean, that was your thinking and you put
mhm,
it on LinkedIn, and now it is there for posterity.
mm, mm,
Because you
mm,
did that, it went viral.
mm,
So the lesson I'm taking from here is not just speaking out. You can do a post, you can do a
mhm,
TikTok. Now with social media, all these can be captured. We have so many channels for
mm,
our voices to be heard. So
mm,
I'm very much encouraged by that. So that I've put it down. Writing is thinking, and for
Right.
mm,
posterity
Thinking.
and reaching a wider audience. This is my
mm.
biggest takeaway.
Mm.
There.
And if I want may jump in, I posted something in the comment section that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate for. And even in
Mhm,
the corporate space, you see that salaries, promotions, you can sit in an organization for 10 years. If you don't step up and say that I want the position, you will not get it. I had an incident in my days at working in a corporate space. I had my own role, but I was always shadowing for another role, which is a level higher than mine. Anytime the person is not there, I'm the cover. And I did this for 3 years. When the person was leaving the organization, I just thought, I mean, this will fall on my lap. I don't even need to. So I was there and I was sent an email to book interviews for the replacement of the role. I went like, excuse me, you're booking interviews when I'm there. It just came as a shock. So I went to have a conversation. Now I'm going to have a conversation I should have had long ago. And this is where you talk about difficult conversation. So
mm.
I went to the HR office, the HRD's office, and I said, I've been doing this for 3 years. I've mastered all the platforms. I'm even called on Saturdays when the guy's phone is busy. They call me. And she said, oh, I didn't know you wanted the role.
Oh my God.
That day I was like, I was lost for words. They said,
Mm,
did you
Yeah.
even know I wanted the role? And she
Mm,
was right. She said, Joy, if you had told me this at the beginning of the year when we were planning, for the year, I would have even put in interventions for making sure that you showed up in a way that you fit the profile for the role. And that was it. I lost my opportunity just
mm,
because I was assuming somebody
mhm,
would see my good works and give
mm.
me what I deserve. So it's a very big lesson about using your voice. If you know you deserve it, you have to speak up and speak out. So thanks
Yes.
for sharing a very good blueprint for us to follow. In this corporate world, that is they call it politics, but you have to speak up. You have to be in front of people, or else nobody sees you. Or nobody can think what is in your head.
Mm,
So it's a very powerful tool that you have you have shared with us as leaders. And the question that I would like to ask also is, you talked about the initial title of the book being Difficult Conversations, and this is something that we even train leaders on. So, what makes difficult conversations so important in leadership to develop the skill of speaking on difficult things? Yes. What would you say to leaders about that?
Hmm. I say, anytime I'm asked to speak on difficult conversations, I always begin by saying that they are difficult not because we, the individuals involved, are difficult, but the issue at hand is difficult, it's sensitive. So you have an issue of underperformance, somebody not meeting expectations, targets not being met, behind work, and naturally as individuals, we all want to save our face. And I must add that this is easier for some people than it is for others. So if you are an anti Sarah, you know this. If you're an avoider and your saboteurs will tell you that the only way you can be liked is when everyone is happy with you, or if you're a people pleaser, you would naturally be inclined to stay away from having difficult conversations. But as a leader, we know that even in life generally, things don't always go as expected. There are bumps in the road. So if you, as a leader, are not able to look at your people in the face and have those conversations, they can't even trust you. So when something is not going right, you can't look at them in the face and say, "This is not right.
Mm-hmm.
Can we find a way of addressing it? What are you struggling with? What can we do? Are there, like they say in the UK and the US, what necessary adjustments do we have to make to support you?" You see, so those conversations, if you're a leader and you're shying away from having the difficult conversations, then you're not fully a leader yet. Because those things will come up. You will have people in your team who are not pulling their weight as expected. And if you don't have that conversation with them, for some of them, they are genuinely struggling. There are things happening in their personal lives that is affecting the work that they are doing. And maybe just a little change, changing their job schedule or giving them more flexibility will turn things around. So if you're unable to have these conversations, how do you support your people who need support the most? So as a leader, having difficult conversations is something you can't offload it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to have in the offices, oh, uh, Joy, you are the one who can speak. Go
Send
and
it to
say this on our
HR.
behalf.
No, send it to
S-
HR.
Yes, yes. Send it to HR, and you, the leader, you are hiding behind HR to have that conversation with a member of your team whose work would directly impact yours.
Yeah. Indeed, indeed, Mami. As you speak in this, I just want to flip it on the other side of the coin to ask the question. So, as leaders, how do we create a culture where even the people who are in our team have that psychological safety?
Mm. And that's such a key word, psychological safety.
Yeah,
Creating environments where people can speak up without
exactly,
fear. Because
exactly.
sometimes people genuinely want to speak up, but they fear for the loss of their job. They fear that they will be demoted, they will be penalized. A leader will bring it up when it's time for promotion. Oh, you want promotion? And the last time he said ABCD, I'm not going to promote you. You see, so it's imperative for us leaders to create the environment. So, how do we do this? When people genuinely express their concerns, be like Moses. Listen, give people the chance to speak. Don't interrupt. Listening is a skill that leaders, I think all of us as leaders and individuals, need to work on. Listen to the person, give them the floor, let them express themselves. Even if you don't have an answer to it, let them understand, okay, I hear you. I don't have an answer yet. Can I speak to a few more people? Now, the other thing where we prevent people from speaking, when they tell us something, we do nothing about it. So if there's someone who's always saying,
Mhm.
oh, things should change, do this, and you, the leader, you're not taking action, they would keep quiet. Now, if you have a workplace where it is not psychologically safe for people to speak, you stifle innovation, you stifle creativity, you stifle productivity. So it
Mm-hmm.
really, as a leader, it is on you to model it. Begin by having those conversations yourself and creating the space and the room for people. Someone is approaching you and is wanting to have a conversation about their promotion, and already you feel the person is feeling a little bit nervous. Can you just let them know it's okay? I'm here to listen to you. As a leader, I want the best for you. So whatever it is, let's talk through it. If I can't solve it now, I will get back to you and let you know. And as well, when we are approaching our leaders, again, let's be clear. Let's go prepared. Let's state exactly the redress we want and how we want it. And if we
Mm-hmm.
do this, we'll create safe spaces where we can speak up. And then the people we lead as well, or the people who um, work with us, will find it easy to speak. And all the things we want to see, creativity, innovation, productivity, will just follow suit.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Doc, I think
Great,
one of
great,
the
great.
core
Good.
I was just gonna jump on one last thing about difficult conversations, which is usually the elephant in the room, which is
Mm,
the issue, not the person,
not the person.
not the person. So our ability to just, dissect it and focus on the right thing is, and then you said clear is kind. I've hashtag clear is kind, because our clarity on what the main focus is usually the blurry lines.
Mm,
We don't speak to this person, but what is the issue we are trying to address? So if leaders can
Mhm.
be able to pinpoint, we are talking about performance, we're talking about your lateness, we're talking about an attitude. You are human. I have so much respect for you, but this needs to be addressed.
mm-hmm,
So I think I like the way you put it and the way you've given both sides of the coin, actions that they can take in making sure that we can have the conversation so that we are all at peace in our hearts and in our minds, and we
mm-hmm.
can progress as an organization. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that, Uncle Sam. Over to you if you have any other questions
Thank you,
to
thank you, thank you. It's always good to have great ladies around to come and ask the great questions. Thank you so very much, and the ideas that you've brought onto the table. Now, I have, do I have, first, I have one thing. Dr. Nikas, how can we get a book to buy? Where are these books?
Okay. So if you are not in Ghana, you can get them on Amazon. Auntie Sarah purchased a copy yesterday, so it's already available on Amazon. If you're in Ghana, you can find it on Seller. If you go on to Seller and just type
Okay.
speak out, it would pop up. If you're in Ghana as well and you want to get a signed copy, 0535842170 is my number. I'll be more than happy to send a signed copy your way. I also have the e-copy for those who prefer to read on their tablets and on their phone. What is yet to come out is the audio version. I think I'll get Joy to partner with me together.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
wonderful.
Yeah.
What is it? I mean, okay, what's one more thing in this book that we have not talked about that you want to talk about if,
Ooh,
as we prepare to close?
one more thing. That's a difficult one. That's a lot in the. I think unity. That's probably one thing we've not talked
Mhm.
about. If you look at the ladies,
Yeah.
um, they didn't approach Moses or the elders individually. They went as a
Mm-hmm.
united front. So there's
Yeah.
power in unity. You know the African proverb that says, if you want to go far, you go alone. If you want to go further, you go together. So
Mhm.
really there's power in
Yes.
unity. That amplified voice amplifies the results. Because if it's an issue in the workplace and you are the only one who is talking about it all the time, it's easy for leadership to ignore you. But you have other people, allyship, a word that we use a lot in the EDI space. You have people who share similar visions, similar drive, and want to see similar results coming together, collective action. It brings about, just imagine just one of the ladies walking alone to Moses. She would probably be afraid and be looking behind her. Is someone following me? But they had each other. The eldest was marching the youngest behind, and together there was strength in that unity. So that, I think that's one thing we haven't talked about enough. See,
The
and
internet.
seeking for and
Okay.
could you hear
But
me, Joy?
we lost you for a second, but you're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So if all of us can pull our voices together,
Yeah.
these are leaders who are stealing our money every day in this country. If everybody can pull our voices together, they will stop stealing our money. We'll go and get our money from their pockets. I like that. We need to be united to fight all the corruption that is going on. All right. Sarah, you wanted to say something?
I forgot.
Yes.
I've got a senior moment. So
All right. So we will give the stage to Doc to give us her parting shots, the dessert for the evening. What would you be your parting shots for all of us?
Ooh, I think you have made it so easy for me. I mean, I love all the questions that all of you asked. Really made me feel at home and get into my elements. But one thing I want to live with every one of us is that our voice matters. And we shouldn't ever take it for granted or ask ourselves, what have I got to say? More often than not, we question ourselves, what have I got to say? I don't have anything interesting to say. Who would listen to me? That's not true. Your voice matters. And you just need to find out which area of influence that God has called you to use your voice in, and use it. Begin from today. Ask yourself, how can I make my voice heard? And one of the questions I like asking my coaching clients is, let's reverse engineer. At the end of your life, looking back, what would you want to leave? What would you want others to say about you? Would you want to be considered as a person of impact, as a person of legacy? It begins by using your voice. And no matter how small you might consider it, you have no idea the ripple effect it would make. These ladies are gone ages ago. We are still talking about them. I'm writing about them. Some of you are discovering them for the first time just because they used their voice. So your voice matters. Use it. Thank you, Uncle Sam and the team.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Joy and Sarah, I'm not seeing any questions from the audience. So I guess with those great parting words, your voice matters. Your voice matters. You can impact and really make a difference just by speaking up and speaking out. Get courage is doing it afraid. You don't get fear doesn't go away because you are courageous. No, it will still be there. You have to do it afraid. Unite with other like-minded people who share the same um, ideas and work with them so that we can together make the transformation we need in our society. Thank you so very much, Doc. And thank you, everybody who made the time to join us. And for those who will watch it later, please go ahead and share to as many people. Until we come your way again next week with another speaker and another leader, I'm Samuel Ayim, and this has been the Leadership Platform, a place for leadership development and personal growth. Join us this and every Saturday, 7 p.m. on the Leadership Platform. God be with you. Have a good night.
And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do that now.